I got some decent news from the Daily Mail. Actually, it's good news. Woman who secretly poked holes in partner's condom in bid to fall pregnant is given 6 months jail term for stealing in Germany. No, the German woman has been jailed for 6 months after she was convicted for stealing her partner's sperm by poking holes in her condoms. The woman who wished to become pregnant sabotaged her partner's condoms without his permission so he could harvest genetic material. The court in Western Germany was told that sabotaging the condom ahead of any assignation is known as stealing and normally involves the man destroying the birth control barrier. Normally, really? How often does that happen? How often does men usually do that? It's weird that they would have a law that would be against men for something they almost never do, if they ever do at all. So it's, as you can see, it's still to attack men, but it should have been originally for the women. This time it's working against them. A 39-year-old woman was described in court as being involved in a friends with benefits relationship with a man, 42. The pair would meet up regularly for regular intimate encounters from the beginning of 2021. The regional court, and I'm going to muck the name, Bielefeld, said the woman developed deeper feelings for her partner that were not reciprocated by the man, who was happy with the casual nature of the relationship. The court heard that she was unsuccessful in her attempt to get pregnant. I see. So she was trying to bind him to her. But what this article is missing, and it won't ever admit to, is what the woman is trying to steal is not his material. It's not that she wants a baby. She wants a baby to hook the man to her. And these women who hook the man, they don't fall in love forever and ever, do they? No, they hook the man, and when they're tired of him, they toss him. And then he's paying her child support. So what they're really stealing is not material, but the man's labor. They're enslaving the man. And this is what this article will never come to, conclusion it'll never come to, right? Now, however, the woman sent her partner a message over WhatsApp that she was pregnant, admitting sabotaging the condom. She's admitting it. Now, that was a very stupid mistake on her part. But it also shows you maybe she isn't that stupid. Maybe it's just that it shows you female privilege is so strong that there's no way she thought that the courts would ever convict her on something like this, right? So maybe it's not so much stupidity, is something that you would naturally expect as a woman, right? He responded by filing criminal charges against her. Good for him. Good for him. The man then pressed criminal charges against her, and the woman later admitted to attempting to manipulate her partner. You know, he's lucky she told him that. She could have just lied. She probably was into him if she admitted it, because if she was just using him purely, she would never admit it to sabotaging his condoms. This is why I said it's good news, not great news, because all it means is if a woman wants to hook a man, she doesn't admit that she sabotaged it, right? The court was unsure as to what to charge the woman with. Judge Astrid Saluski said, "We have written legal history here today." Initially, the woman was facing charges of rape, but this was later reduced to sexual assault. Yeah, I wouldn't say this was rape or sexual assault, but she says, look, we'll call it stealing. Normally involves men removing or sabotaging the condom during intercourse. How often does that ever happen? And how would it be stealing for the man? Anyway, she told the court the provision also applies in the reverse case. It should be the other way around. I mean, the common thing that happens is that the woman is the one trying to jail the guy, imprison the man. Anyway, the condoms were rendered unusual without the man's knowledge or his consent. No means no here as well. Wow. So Germany actually held their ground. So there is some positive change, isn't there? There's some. And like I say, it's so slow because these changes should have been 30 or even 40 years ago. But if somehow men just hope that things going to happen on their own. And I got to tell you now, they lucked out. And this is Germany. It's not happening everywhere in the world, is it? So you guys listening, you got to get on the ball. You got to start considering that times are not what they were. You got to admit what women think of men and what they select us for. And you've got to admit the end result, that, relationships do not stay loving relationships forever. And so, like I say, this woman was into him this time, but eventually she probably would have fallen out of love with him. And then she's a woman who has another person, his child, to use against him. So this guy did the right thing. And the sad part, like I say again, is that what will happen, this will only work a few times, and then women will simply not admit to sabotaging. They'll really, like I said, the only reason I believe she admitted it, well, two reasons. She was probably into him for the time being. And two, she probably, from experience, thought she would never get charged with anything. Because that is women's experience. They assault a man in any way they like, and they don't get any consequences, or it's a slap on the wrist at worst. So now that this woman got consequences, other women will look at this, and it won't stop them from doing it, but it'll stop them from being truthful. So this is why this is only a shoehorn, but men have to be willing to push it all the way in. Okay, that ends this.